Hey-ho! Let's go! Fired up tonight. Tired because that damn trade broke for me at 3:30 in the morning. Got my attention.
Well, I hope Jim Jubb or Jeff Williams tune in tonight.
I spoke to Jim Jubb today. Before all that, you poor Oriole fans, thank you for joining us again this week. The hot stove season is underway. It's beginning to cook. We'll have updates on that, along with a look at the MLB Awards from last week. But, as we always do, we begin the show by asking you the question, where else would you rather be than right here? Booyah! Right now. I feel awesome. Grayson Rodriguez went from one stupid organization to an incompetent one. Congratulations, young man. You are looking live at our split studios. This is Fantasy Baseball Now, episode 64.
You aren't away tonight, aren't you?
I'm fired up. I got 18 cups of coffee because, 3:30. Look, you get older. You got to go to the bathroom a few times in the middle of the night. I saw the trade at 3:30, and I just said aloud, what the fuck? And Mrs. Pugsley is like, what's going on? I'm like, never mind. It's a baseball trade. All that, episode 64.
Somebody brings it in the house. I thought one of the kids were up.
She got right back.
I thought our neighbors were having a party.
She got back to sleep after.
What for Rodriguez? That's what you said. What the fuck for?
I'm like, it's a baseball trade. Ball9.com podcast network. How are you?
I'm good. Episode 64.
4
in the books as we roll through the off season of Major League Baseball. And when you text me this morning, at whatever time you text me this morning, saying you were going to go off on the Orioles organization,
it was going to be early, and I said, nah, he might be sleeping.
He was, and then I did check my phone and went, interesting, because it's interesting. So it's Taylor Ward for Grayson Rodriguez, right? So,
by the way, Booger's a lifelong Orioles fan. I broke the news to him, and his first reaction was, I might switch teams.
Wait, before you go into your rant, if my continually failing memory serves me correctly,
yes,
in your fan free agency, the team an hour and 30 minutes from me, South on 95, was a finalist. You had a hat.
They were actually the winner, and then I said, no, I'm an A's fan. I'm just stuck in hell. The hat's in the closet right over to my right. Like your
Orioles fandom in the closet.
Yeah, all done. I thank God. I got enough troubles with the worst front office in the history of sports, the A's, the worst owner in the NFL, Mark Davis, and the Bruins. The Bruins are playing good, so I can't bash them, although their GM's incompetent. But it's tough. Yeah, maybe I jinxed the Orioles by donning that cap.
So here's the interesting part of this trade. Before you go on your rant, and I support your rant. Jeff Passan yesterday had an article on ESPN.com where he talked about the glut of outfielders in Anaheim.
Yep.
And that Joe Adell or Ward could be on a trade block this winter. And then in the same article, he talked about how the Orioles have said they're going to go all in for pitching.
Well,
so explain to me. It seems to me that the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim may have actually talked about a plan and executed it, which is a rarity, like a Halley's Comet kind of thing. And the Orioles have Oreo'd. That's what I read into this.
All right. First of all, the Angels are grossly incompetent. They're going to screw that kid up beyond belief. But
he's already screwed up.
He is screwed up. So
we can't screw him up more than the Orioles did.
So the Orioles, you have Trevor Rogers, who was a nice find, and that's it.
Kyle Bradish.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, okay.
And
You got
and
this glut.
seemingly Grayson Rodriguez coming back to be the number 2 starter.
Yes, that the highly touted guy that we've been hearing about for a few years now. The aforementioned Jim Jubb, I called him today. He goes, "Look, the kid hasn't pitched. He's been hurt. You got to cut your losses." I was like, "Okay, I'm trying to make sense of this." I said, maybe the Orioles see something in his delivery that they view as an uncorrectable flaw that may lead to arm injuries. Maybe. The medicals have to check out, even though the Angels are grossly stupid. They still wouldn't do the trade if the medicals don't work. Maybe. But why would you trade a 26-year-old guy that's been your most highly touted pitching when you need pitching for a 31 going on 32-year-old 225 hitter who, by the way, is in his walk year coming up?
Correct.
Okay. Yeah. Look,
Let's
he
not
had a
forget
lot of
that.
homers and a lot of RBIs last year. That's fine. But Gray Rod's got 4 years of team control. They have no pitching. None.
So if you read the article, they said they wanted more power in their lineup. They finished 11th in Major League Baseball in home runs last year. 11th. And that's with Westberg and Henderson. Henderson, he played 154 games, but he wasn't great. Westberg missed a shitload of time. Ryan Mountcastle played 80-something games.
So did Colton Cowser.
Colton Cowser sucks. So I think that's the other part of it.
Okay.
The other part of it is they have all of these outfield prospects. So Heston Kjerstad's obviously getting traded this offseason, right? Obviously. They've got all these outfield prospects. They're worried about power. They're worried about
need it.
They're worried about power. They hit 235 as a team last year. Well, Ward's going to help that.
Help lower it.
They were I'm searching. They were 24th in Major League Baseball in runs scored. Behind the fucking Twins. They scored less runs than the Twins. The Twins don't score any runs.
My God.
And they're worried about they're worried about power on a team that had 7 guys hit double-digit home runs, and their big power hitter played half the season and still had double-digit home runs. Yet they don't put the ball in play. That's a fact. They were 4th in baseball in strikeouts last year. That's not good. That's not good. I mean, the Angels were first, so they fixed that problem. Right? They fixed that problem. They probably need a legitimate center fielder now, because I think Adele's probably better suited for left or right, and who knows if Trout's ever going to play in the outfield again. They struck out 1,457 times.
That's a lot.
I mean, the Yankees struck out 1,463 times. But they also hit 274 home runs. And their team batting average was 251. And their team OPS was 787. And the Orioles team OPS was 699. They were 21st. They suck offensively last year. They sucked. Every place that they needed to fix, strikeouts, batting average, run production, on-base percentage, they just traded for a guy that does none of those things. And they enhanced the thing that they were already pretty decent at the risk of trading their top pitching prospect in the last 15 years.
It's
What
insane.
if he goes to Los Angeles and he's probably healthy, right? He must be. What if he goes and he's healthy and he has a stellar season, and then we'll get to what Rob Manfred said in a minute today at his press conference. And they play in 27 and Ward walks. And I know what their offseason signings are going to be, those cheap fucks. I know what they're going to be. Welcome back to Baltimore, Zach Littell.
The other thing, Jim said to
Jared
me,
Weaver, do you want to do a Clay Holmes and become a starter? Let's take a shot at that.
The other thing Jim said to me was, he goes, well, this tells me they're going to spend in free agency. I'm like, well,
they're not.
They were supposed to do that last year, and they let Corbin Burns walk. Here's the problem.
And they replaced him with nothing.
Here's the problem. The money's out there for players. Is Baltimore a team you want to go to right now when you look at the dysfunction from the ownership to the front office? That owner came in talking a big game and hasn't delivered. And I got to bring Pittsburgh into this too. I know Pittsburgh offered Josh Naylor. Good for them. Josh Naylor got $92 million from Seattle. For Pittsburgh to get a guy like that, they got to offer him $122 million. You got to way overpay when you are dog shit, and everybody knows it. You got to way overpay to get people to come and play for your team.
They're making an offer to Schwarber.
I know they are, but they got to go so far over and above to get. Why would he want to go?
They're going to have to go from 30 to 35. They're going to have to go $35 million a year to even get him to sniff there. And I think the Reds are going to have to do the same damn thing, despite the fact that he grew up 20 minutes from the ballpark.
They have to. But that's the spot teams like that are in. If you want to build, and you got to get, if you can get 2 or 3, then maybe you become a destination if your team gets better. But you got to get those guys early, and you got to way overpay, because that Pittsburgh franchise is a disaster up front, and people know it.
But what Pittsburgh has that Baltimore doesn't have, cities are similar, right? Cost of living's lower in Pittsburgh than it is in Baltimore. Stadiums are similar. They're both fantastic. Pittsburgh has a borderline elite pitching staff. And they've got the best pitcher in the National League, possibly the best pitcher in baseball on their roster.
Yep.
At 23 years old. And players will go there to win with a guy like that, as opposed to, okay, I'm going to go here and get paid. I'm going to go to Baltimore. I'm going to get paid. That's great. But if we don't win 14-13, we're not winning any baseball games. We don't have a closer. We don't have really a starting rotation. Our middle relief is a disaster. And this idiot owner who said he was going to be different than the Angelos family has in fact been worse. Because at least the Angelos family said they weren't going to spend any money, and they didn't.
Correct.
This dipshit said he was going to spend money, and he didn't spend any.
And he's going to be one of the guys leading the charge of the lockout.
Oh, fuck. So great transition.
Thank you.
That's a great transition, because Clownford spoke today under the guise of addressing Major League Baseball's next steps after the betting scandal. That's a good fucking laugh out loud read, too.
Yeah.
I think the most important undertaking in rally and really the bedrock of our relationship with sportsbooks is the ability to monitor betting activity. Not the fact that they sponsor everything you do and they're paying you hundreds of millions of dollars. The ability to discern inappropriate patterns is really, really important. We understood the prop bet issue from the very beginning. I'm glad we've done something now. So what they've done is U.S. Sportsbooks recently established a nationwide $200 betting limit on individual pitches. First of all, how about just fucking you can't bet on individual pitches? How about a zero limit?
Zero.
And ban those from inclusion in parlays to curtail the motivation for manipulation. So I'm pitcher so-and-so. And my friend comes to me and says, if you throw your first pitch in your appearance tonight, if you throw a curveball for a ball, we'll give you $5,000. Well, when you can bet 50,000 on that pitch, that's easy to do.
Yep.
And I can only bet 200. But friend so-and-so has 100 friends that'll bet $200.
Well, and that's the thing. It's got to be tougher to flag with the smaller amounts.
Right. So 100 people make that bet.
Is what triggers it.
And one person with 5 email addresses and 5 accounts makes that bet 5 times. God forbid that anybody would ever think of that. I mean, I just did on the fucking fly. You know, the degenerates of which I consider myself partial.
Well,
have already thought about that. So that was the gist of him speaking today. But since he got on the podium, people couldn't help themselves but to ask him questions. And because he can't help himself, he was compelled to answer, as only Rob Manfred could. In regards to the potential work stoppage, he starts by saying the business has great momentum right now. Off that World Series, it should have great momentum right now. However, he says, what I would say about the issue of competitive balance is we have a significant segment of our fans that have been vocal about the issue of competitive balance, and in general, we try to pay attention to our fans. Fuck you. What are you talking about? Pay attention to our fans. Would there be a ghost runner if you paid attention to your fans? No. No. There wouldn't be. There wouldn't be. So what he did say, and this is where he's right, there's never been a work stoppage while he's been an employee of Major League Baseball. Ever. Never. So there's a lot of work to be done in between now and then, and that's my goal. And I will segue and say I did watch The Death of the Expos on Netflix last night.
Yeah, how was that?
Well, I couldn't sleep. I couldn't even think about falling asleep for an hour and a half because I was so fucking pissed off after watching it. It's phenomenal. I mean, you gotta be able to read because most of the conversations in French. But it was tremendous. It was tremendous. And David Sampson's a dick. And Jeffrey Lurie is a dick. They only fucked up 2 franchises. And John Brochu's a dick. And Major League Baseball sucks balls. And Montreal needs a baseball team back. That's kind of the gist of it. So he also said that the Tropicana Field renovations are progressing really well, and that the Rays will be back there. However, the new ownership is looking for, as we knew, land near Raymond James Stadium to try to build a mega sports complex there. And basically the Sarasota deal's dead. And that was written that was talked about when he bought the team.
Yep.
The Padres for sale is big news.
Yeah, that's you should talk about crapping on the guy's memory.
That's really Jimbo's bringing it tonight. Trying to
now, you know why?
He's trying to deflect from Florida State football. That's why he's bringing it.
No, it's not Florida State football because he's a Cowboy fan.
Oh.
That's why.
No, they had a bye week. They had a scrimmage Monday night.
I don't want to talk about it. It's a baseball show.
They signed a 6-year agreement between MLB and PitchCom. That joke of a thing. I got to talk in your ear because somebody might steal my signs. And instead of stealing signs, now they're just stealing pitches out of pitchers' gloves. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Wouldn't talk about the Tower Skaggs lawsuit, which he was probably smart not to do. But if anybody's been following that, that's ugly as ugly can be. And 2 major changes to All-Star Weekend. and then you can tell me if these are major changes. The draft, which previously held its first round on Sunday, will now be on Saturday.
Oh, which draft?
The MLB draft.
Oh, okay.
The futures game will move from Saturday to Sunday. Those are the two major.
See now you're fucking up my whole July. I got to go back and reconfigure my calendar now. The hell?
Those are the two major changes.
Year's notice on this.
Those are the two major changes to the All-Star game.
I need a year's notice if they're going to change the futures game, the date.
How about this for an All-Star game? How about we do this for an All-Star game instead? How about the Savannah Bananas?
No.
Play 4 innings against the American League team and 4 innings against the National League team, and watch how hard it is to get a ticket to the All-Star game. You watch.
You're probably right. We've been down that
road. 100%. You know I'm right. I'm 100% right. Would it be any different than what we're watching now?
Of course, that was the lost episode due to the Ozzy Osbourne tribute that was banned from the internet. But yeah, the Bananas and me just don't mesh. But I'm the minority on that one. Rob Manfred's he's just a tool.
And sadly,
no way around it.
And sadly, now ESPN is the rights holder to MLB TV.
That might have just saved me a couple hundred, though.
Yeah, it might have saved my. It's not going to think of a new birthday gift, because that was my standing birthday gift to get Major League TV.
Yeah,
but in my war with YouTube TV, I did upgrade my ESPN to an ESPN Premium account, and now I guess I don't need MLB TV anymore.
I get the premium free with Spectrum Cable. That and Peacock and Hulu and a couple others. They're all free now. So It saved me a couple bucks. It's all free. I'm sure my cable rates went up, but in general, I haven't bought the NHL package in 2 years, because if I want to watch the Bruins, I go to the ESPN app.
I'll give ESPN credit because they're anything that they have that involves talking sucks.
Yeah, it's awful. I don't listen to it, but it's awful.
But they just picked up. They just announced this agreement, and then a week ago they announced an agreement with MLS, and the MLS package on Apple TV will no longer be necessary as well, which was something that my middle daughter always wanted, so she could follow her favorite MLS team, the Philadelphia Union, and watch every one of their matches. That's another $109 a year. I'm not going to have to give it to you. YouTube TV, Jimbo, YouTube TV can, as Eric Cartman said, suck my balls, Mr. Garrison. I am dropping them after I got $40 in credits, not 20 out of them, after a war with Google, because I got time on my hands to do so. I will not be participating in YouTube TV the second my NFL package expires after the regular season. I'm done.
Yep.
I will not be watching them. I'll watch on every other streaming platform that I got, and I have them all except for Fox, which I will have the day after I drop YouTube. I'll subscribe to that, and I'm just going to go full streaming. I don't watch. Honestly, the only thing I watch is live sports anyway, 99% of the time. So
yeah.
And my phone covers what I need to watch anyway. So yeah. So the Orioles. So to recap, Manfred's a bag of shit.
Yep.
Gambling's still a problem in Major League Baseball, and because they sponsor so much of baseball. Now, we don't want to talk about Eric Clase and Junior Ortiz, but we'll be right back after this message from DraftKings. And the Orioles are as inept can possibly be, and they only proved it further. When you make the Angels look good, you're inept.
And what about Naylor going to Seattle? I was happy for Seattle. I hate the Mariners, but good for them trying to build off it.
Trying to run it back. Yeah, good for them. Good for them.
Because I thought they're going to let him and Eugenio go. maybe it fits. Maybe they realize just how close they are.
Well, I think Eugenio is going to be a harder, a more difficult issue for them. Only in that his age and he's got a chance to get his last big contract.
Yeah.
And somebody's going to pay him. And they might not be prepared to go there, so they might need another fix at third base, but they've got so much pitching depth. They have so much pitching depth. I think if I were them, I'd fucking trade Luis Castillo.
Oh, absolutely.
I'd move on.
Trade him to somebody who thinks he's good, because he is.
Trade him to somebody that, it'd be a great trade for them. It'd be a phenomenal trade for them. And the Orioles would never do this. is to get Jordan Westburg for Castillo. I don't think the Orioles would ever do that. I think they love Westburg a lot.
Yeah.
But they can get outboned. They could have got outboned for dirt cheap last year. They're going to be able to get them cheaper this year. Because the Phillies are now linked to Bregman.
Are they? By the way, Rafael Iglesias just re-signed with the Atlanta Braves, breaking 31 minutes ago.
That's a good move for him.
Yeah.
That's a very good move. That's a very, very good move for him. He was on he went in our world, he went from who's not hot to cut him. Well, Randy Jones died.
Yeah, he did. Too bad. Sorry.
Shame, man. He was great.
He's great. 76.
Look him up.
Good. Threat to win 30.
Good afro for a white guy too. He had a good afro.
Threat to win 30 was the headline on Sports Illustrated before the All-Star game in 76.
Yeah.
That crafty lefty.
Yeah, Iglesias had after his, I'm trying to remember if it was Passan in Passan's column. His numbers after July 5th were as good as any reliever in Major League Baseball. His numbers before July 5th, he should have been released.
Yeah.
Like he was really, really good. So here's another before we move on to the postseason awards. So previously to this year, only 14 players had accepted the qualifying offer.
Yeah.
And in a span of a minute yesterday, 4 did.
Yeah, the Trent Grisham just they must really not believe in Spencer Jones. My God, why I said it last week. Why would they have given him the offer?
Because they didn't think he was going to take it, and they'd get draft pick compensation. That's why you offer it.
Well, he took it.
That's why you offer it.
Oh man,
Glaber back to Detroit's a good move.
A great move for him.
Yeah, for both of them. It's a great move for both of them. And then McGonigal can come up, play short. They can figure out third base between McKinstry, Baez, whoever's going to play third base, or they can go out and get somebody to play third base if they don't like those guys. Imanaga back to the Cubs is a good move for both of them. It's a good move for both of them.
It is.
He got a raise. He'll pitch. Woodruff back to the Brewers is really, really interesting. Because there's now 2 schools of thought as a result of him taking the qualifying offer. They run that team back.
Well, Peralta's on the trade.
And don't trade Freddie Peralta, who's a free agent after this season. which is not what they're usually inclined to do. Usually they're inclined to trade guys going into their walk year, or they trade them and get a carload. It's going to be it's going to be a really interesting offseason. Not so much from a free agency standpoint, because guys are going to get paid, right? The guys are going to get paid. Alonso's going to get paid. Tucker's going to get paid. Bellinger's going to get paid. Bregman's going to get paid. Valdez is going to get paid. Everybody's going to get paid. It's the guys that are in walk years and whether they get traded will let you know how the owners are feeling about, are we going all in because we might not be playing in 27? Or is it going to just be semi-business as usual and we're just trying to win, so we're just going to build our team now and we'll worry about what happens in 2027 when 2027 rolls around?
Yep.
And I think that's the approach that you have to take, to be honest with you. If you own anything, if COVID taught you anything, you got to make the best business you can make every day, because you can't plan for the chaos that could happen as a result of business not being available anymore. You just can't.
Yeah. And
you can't tank this season under the expectation that there's not going to be a next season. Because if you're already losing your fan base, hello Pittsburgh. If you're already losing your fan base and you shit the bed this year, if you remember how angry people were in 94 with no World Series, and it only took steroids to save baseball. With the amount of money that these guys are getting paid now, people are going to be done. They're going to realize how much money they spent going to, if there's no baseball, they're going to look at how much money they spent going to baseball games. They're going to have that full year of not spending that amount of money.
Yep.
And they're going to redirect it in other ways, some out of necessity and some out of just, all right, there's no baseball, let's do this instead. And they're going to find out that this instead's more fun than going to a baseball game.
No, I think we have a year to talk about it, but they're doomed for a couple of reasons. Number one, the commissioner is a douche and an idiot. Okay. And yeah, but
he definitely is that.
You have three parties here. You have the spend at all cost owners, the cheap owners, and the players. And you get three sides now. And the owners got to get on the same page. They're not going to get on the same page anytime soon. That's the biggest problem. If the unified owners against the unified players can hash out an agreement, and the shame of it all is going to be baseball's reemerged as number 2 sport in this country. It's past basketball. Those games.
Yeah, basketball's a tough watch right now.
Yeah,
basketball's a tough watch. Steve Kerr talked about that today, like the pace and the amount of threes. I mean, basketball's a tough watch, and it's like I still watch it because I like basketball, but hockey's always been fighting. There should be a spike in soccer as a result of the World Cup, but there won't be enough of a spike where and good for MLS to change their schedule to the global calendar.
Yeah.
But I mean, they're not going to be competing. They're not going to be competing with baseball like they have been for the last forever. And the summer, people are going to find other stuff to do, just like they did the last time. And I know that, like, a lot of people in 94, a lot of people, older than we are now, they never came back to baseball.
Yeah.
They were just done. They were just done. They were completely done. And they never came back. And that, I mean, it's not a good situation. It's gonna be a cloud on everything we talk about. It's going to be a cloud on dynasty leagues as we talk about dynasty leagues. It's going to be a cloud on everything until there's some level of resolution one way or another. And I can guarantee you that the players are never going to go for a salary cap. It's never going to happen. And you can't get a floor without a cap. They won't do both. They won't do one. They'll do both. And the players are never going to go for it. And they should. They should. The media deals that Major League Baseball is putting in place are starting to creep up on, closer to 75% of the NFL money, and NFL players aren't bitching about the salary cap. And NFL teams find a way to get it done.
Let's go to the awards.
Well, let's start with the 2025 Comeback Player of the Year.
Okay.
We both correctly picked Jacob deGrom. You chose Christian Yelich, and I chose Ronald Acuna. And Ronald Acuna was the National League Comeback Player of the Year. So what occurred to me when I was thinking about this is, if you think about players that have won the Comeback Player of the Year over time, they're always stars. They're always star players that missed most of the previous season and then came back. It's not some random guy.
I don't remember picking Christian Yelich. Good for me. He had a great year.
He did have a great year. Oh, you made a strong case. You were wrong.
I should write this stuff down.
You should write this stuff. Maybe you should pay attention during the show.
I pay attention. I just don't remember what I say sometimes.
Yeah, that could be a challenge.
Now you know why my wife is driven crazy incessantly.
Rookie of the Year, we were easily both right on the American League Rookie of the Year, because that was as easy a selection as we could ever make. And we were both wrong on National League Rookie of the Year, though we did mention Drake Baldwin when we were talking about this.
Yeah.
If you put Drake Baldwin's little head above Cade Horton and Caleb Durbin, then that's the order.
Okay.
The Brewers had 4 players get votes for National League Rookie of the Year.
They were stacked in that.
That's fucked up, man.
Yeah, that's
crazy. That's insanity. They had 4 players get votes for National League Rookie of the Year. 4. Holy cats. So they're good, and they're going to be good. They're going to continue to be good. And they're going to continue to be good because of that guy right there. You were right. You were right. I believe you shouldn't have been right. I was wrong. I believe I should have been right. I don't have anything against Stephen Vogt. He did a fine job. I don't feel he did a better job than Schneider did.
I thought Schneider deserved it.
The Indians were the guard. Excuse me. I said Indians.
You can call them the Indians. It's okay.
They were worse than last year.
Here's why he won it. And I think Schneider should have won it, though I picked Vogt, because voters remember kind of what they're left with at the end. And it was Cleveland's mad dash. It's like I'll go to.
You're right about that. From August 15th on, they were as good a team as there was in baseball for a month and a half.
I'll give you a boxing analogy. Remember that sport, boxing?
Boxing.
Sugar Ray Leonard was virtually unbeatable.
Is that when 2 guys used to get in the ring with gloves on and they couldn't bite,
and I'd have
punch, throw elbows, high knees?
People in my studio apartment with a keg of beer every time there was a fight on in my illegal cable descrambler. Sugar Ray Leonard used to win a lot of his fights because he would coast through the first 2 minutes of each round and turn it on in the last minute because he would leave the judges with that memory of what he did in the final minute.
Yeah.
And that's why Stephen Vogt won. Schneider did a better job throughout the course of the year. There's no question about that. But
Schneider was also my first choice. He was my second manager to be fired. He was my number 2 manager to be fired. My first choice in American League. That's a good get by Jimbo on Travis Jankowski, because I saw that he got hired by the Rangers, to digress for just a moment, as their first base coach. And I'm wondering, with his Polishness, if he forgets that he's coaching and tries to steal second base at some point in time during a game.
Is that an affront to the Polish people?
Observation. It's an observation.
It's okay.
If they listen to it backwards, it'll be an affront.
We'll let it pass.
And then Pat Murphy.
Good-natured humor.
I mean, Pat Murphy is... I think he's the byproduct. I think he's a great manager. But I also think he's a byproduct of a tremendous organization.
Yeah.
Because remember how great of a manager Craig Counsell was when he was in Milwaukee?
Correct.
So is he a byproduct of them making brilliant trades and having a tremendous scouting organization and then plugging in the right players at the right time? As much as he's a great manager, the players love him. They love the guy. And anybody that does a fake letter from Bob Uecker congratulating his team on winning the Central says everything about a guy that you need to know.
Yep.
Right. I mean, like, to construct that letter, make it sound like it was from you, to keep that tie going, just let you know, he's just a solid dude, man. He's just a solid guy. And he's a really good manager. And they're a good team. And they're not, like, as I said, when you got that many guys in the NL Rookie of the Year award voting, they're not going away. So then we go to Cy Young. We were both right. We were really right in the National League.
Yeah.
I was surprised that Crochet did not get more first place votes than he did. I wasn't surprised that Skubal won. I was surprised it wasn't as close as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, you can't argue with anybody voting for Skubal, but yeah, Crochet was lights out all year.
And Christopher Sanchez getting all of the second place votes.
Yes.
That is a little surprise.
That was interesting.
You think?
That was interesting to see that. I wonder if that's ever happened. Unanimous winner, unanimous second place.
That's a good question. We'll have to get our facts and information team on that.
Once we find them.
Chat GPT. That'll be our. And then this is my favorite one. This is my favorite one. National League, no shit. I mean, really, it wasn't even close. American League, fuck you, Cal Raleigh.
Oh, come on. The big dumper.
How about the big dumper? He deserved to win. Except he didn't have as good a season as the guy that did.
Yeah, look,
the same conversation, and I'm like, this historic from a catcher. How many innings did he catch? Nobody gives a shit. Nobody cares. Look at the production in every single offensive category. Comparison, like category by category, comparing the two. Raleigh hit more homers. Raleigh drove in more runs. Every single other offensive category, Judge blew him out of the water.
Yeah, Judge winning the batting title made it difficult for me to pick Raleigh, though I still did. It was hard to argue with that. I mean, they both had historic seasons.
They did.
They both did, but you can only have one winner.
But you can only have one winner, so the Raleigh argument he had a historic season, and for a catcher, he had the most historic season. Yes, Raleigh has to regress. I mean, he has to. But I don't think his regression is going to be based on early season ADP drafts. I don't think anybody thinks he's going to regress that much. He did, but most valuable, Raleigh was probably more valuable to the Mariners, or he was equally as valuable as Judge was to the Yankees.
I could live with the argument if people said Judge is more valuable to the Yankees. Raleigh had more help.
Well, yeah, Raleigh had a healthy team.
With J-Rod and Naylor got it going, and the acquisitions that they made.
What those two teams have in common is they have J.P. Crawford and Anthony Volpe at shortstop, and neither of them should be starting at shortstop. Neither of them. But the Yankees didn't trade for Naylor. They traded for Ryan McMahon, who I still don't think has a hit as a Yankee. But he did fix second, but he did fix third base for them.
Okay. So you got that going for you.
But like here's the challenge, right? So specific to Rookie of the Year. Is Kurtz going to regress, or is Kurtz just coming into Major League Baseball? Is Drake Baldwin going to regress, or is Drake Baldwin just all of a sudden a Major League Baseball player? I think they're both. I don't see regression from either of them, personally.
I agree with you. I with Kurtz, I thought about this. I kind of thought this question might come up. No, I think Kurtz, what I liked about him, what people may not realize is it took him, I think, 17 games to hit that first home run. He didn't come up and just go crazy. It took him a little while.
No.
But teams saw him more than a few times, and they couldn't get him out. And the adjustment, you hear that about, you see him the second time around, third time around, you play him in a series, you start to figure the guy out. They didn't figure him out. I don't see a regression from him. They
didn't figure Drake Baldwin out either. And their lineup was no great shakes this year. They had a lot of down years from a lot of guys.
Yeah.
And then Sean Murphy started hitting eventually after he got healthy, and they found a way to keep them both in the lineup.
Yep.
Much to the disgruntledness of Marcell Ozuna, but
yeah, let him be disgruntled.
He's going to be disgruntled on somebody else's team next year. So then, Cy Young Award. I don't think you can. I think you have a better chance of predicting regression for guys that finish behind them than these two guys. I think these two guys are just getting better.
You know what? I thought last year was Skubal's best year, was going to be the best year of his career. I was wrong. I don't think we've even scratched the surface with Skeens yet. As great as he has been.
No.
I mean, Mike, could you imagine if he's pitching on a team where it'd be a little easier for him if he didn't have to shut everybody out every start?
Well, put him on a team where that's not last in Major League Baseball and runs scored. Is that what you're saying?
I mean,
yeah.
That he's got to pitch differently. Maybe it makes him better. I don't know. Maybe it makes him better knowing if he gives up one run, he might lose the game.
Like, I mean, I'd like to say Christopher Sanchez is going to regress, but beginning with post All-Star break last year through this season, he is what he is at this point. He is what he is. I think Freddie Peralta is a regression candidate. I don't think Crochet's a regression candidate. He's an injury candidate. That's what scares me about him. I don't think Fried's a regression candidate because he's been like this except for when he was hurt his entire career. So I think when you look at the top 3 or 4 in both leagues, they are what they are. Like they are what they are. I mean, like last time Judge won an MVP, I traded him because I thought he was going to have a regression year, and I was wrong.
I did the same with Scooble last year.
We did trade him for Soto, who I then traded again. And clearly Ohtani's not going to regress. I mean, clearly.
No, he's on.
He didn't steal as many bases this year. Whatever. He set the Los Angeles Dodger / Brooklyn Dodger team record for runs scored. Like when you set a team record on a team that's been around for a gazillion years with the litany of Hall of Fame players that they have in their friggin' history,
it's pretty good.
It's not bad.
It's pretty good.
It's not bad. Like both those guys get mentioned with names that you're like, wow, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Like 3 MVPs when you're mentioned with Mantle and Berra, those are pretty historic names in Major League Baseball.
Yes.
But you play on those franchises. For you to have seasons like they both had, and they talk about how historic the seasons were, and then the names that they mentioned in comparison with teams that have been around for that long. And Scuba would be the same with the Tigers, and Skeens would be the same with the Pirates, frankly. Right? Teams that have been around since the early 1900s, and you think about the litany of players that those teams have in the Hall of Fame, and the vast history and the great history of those organizations, and those players' names start get to mentioned with those players, you're like, yeah, these are kind of historic seasons.
Let me ask you this with Judge. 368 career homers. Is he an automatic Hall of Famer yet?
No. I mean, 3 MVP. Well, we talked about Dale Murphy last week.
3 MVPs.
We talked about Dale Murphy last week.
294 hitter. I'm reading the stats. Steal some base. I mean, 3 MVPs speaks for itself, and
he got fucked out of 1.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Should be 4.
He should have 4. He got totally screwed out of 1. I mean, he got screwed.
I mean, right now, obviously, if he gets through any sort of seasons healthy, he's going to eclipse 400 easy next year.
I mean, if he plays 5 more years, that's a minimum 150 home runs.
Yeah.
So he'll be in a 500 home run club, and there's nothing to think that he might not be in that in 3 years. He has everything going in his favor except for postseason.
Yep.
And the guy that's on the fringe, who we all believe has to get the 500 home runs to even get considered, despite the fact that he has an MVP award, Giancarlo Stanton, his postseason stats might vault him as a Hall of Famer. I mean, Judge had a tremendous postseason this year, just not power.
Yeah.
I mean, he had 500, for Christ's sakes. I mean, that's not a terrible postseason.
No.
But I mean, it's not awful. But they haven't won any World Series with him there, which is a standard for the Yankees, whether he likes it or not. But I think he's well on his way. I think he's well on his way. I think Ohtani's well on his way. I think it's way too soon for Scooble and Skeens to even have that conversation.
Too soon for those guys. I think Judge.
But they're trending for sure. But they're definitely trending, right? 5 more years of this, you go on a 7-8 year run as a pitcher. I mean, Koufax did it.
Yeah, that's the exception to the rule, though.
There's definitely the exception to the rule. And as I always get our boy Not Guy Eddie fired up when I throw the word compiler out. Pitchers definitely need, though we're in a new world, right? We're in a new world where, I mean, you're going to see Scherzer and, I mean, you're going to see Verlander probably get to 300 wins. If he's going to sign someplace. He may end up back in San Francisco. He was good enough after August 1st to deserve a contract someplace if he wants to pitch. He'll be 43.
Yeah,
Scherzer's already said he wants to pitch.
Verlander's at 266. I don't know if he's got 34 more.
Yeah, I don't think he's got 34 more in him. That'd be that'd be 3 more years. Right?
I don't see that. Yeah.
But he get to 275, maybe even 280 if he catches a break. I mean, 275 is not outrageous. He's a Hall of Famer one way, or he's a Hall of Famer no matter what.
Scherzer's
already in. Scherzer's already in. I mean, they're the last of a dying breed. This is what we did talk about this, right? Like Cole's the bridge, and then all these new guys under 200 innings. I mean, these under 200 inning guys, like Zach Littell, when I was reading about free agency, Zach Littell threw 1 more inning this year than Skeens.
Wow.
And I don't think that wasn't Skeens' choice. I guarantee you that. I mean, I've said it 100 times. I watched every single start. He came out of starts. He was not happy to come out of those games. He came out. He didn't make a big scene. He's not that kind of guy. But you could tell by his body language and a look on his face. He's like, yeah, I can go another 2. I mean, at some point, you got to let pitchers pitch. I mean, you got to let these guys pitch. I mean, and you saw it in the postseason because Scuba was semi-limited in the regular season, but in the postseason, the Tigers just let him go till his friggin' arm fell off, or he was ineffective. There was no worry about third time through the lineup with him. He was just blowing people up.
All right.
So next week we are breaking for the Turkey Day transition.
Feast.
The night before Thanksgiving in our younger days, always the Super Bowl of drinking, because everybody came home from school and it was a bloodbath, and it made Thanksgiving Day not so well attended by me. The term obscenely hungover pops into my memory banks. Still got up for football. Still got up for Turkey Bowl
Day football. Turkey
Day football though. And then we'll come back on the 3rd, and on the 3rd we'll talk about the regular ballot for the 2026 Hall of Fame, which you sent me, and I'm still have this image of a guy delivering a FedEx package to Ryan Braun's house, and him pissing in the cup with Ryan Braun not watching.
Yep.
So then we'll go through. We'll do 2 more. We'll do 3 shows in December. We'll take off for Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve, and then we'll come back in January and we'll start doing position. We'll do prospects after next week, both leagues, and then we'll do positions, and then we'll do our must and do not draft for each in our predictions by division going through. As we close into February, we'll talk about where players are in ADP. We'll look at NFBC. We'll look at CBS Sportsline, and we'll look at where ADPs are as people get ready for the draft. We'll do roster battles. We'll do the do not must draft list as we love to do, and it shows how stupid we are. and then we'll do a round table. Hopefully, we'll get a cast of a cavalcade of stars for our division and World Series predictions, and then we'll recap our draft, which we need to set a draft date for, by the way.
We do.
Pretty quickly here.
Yeah. Got to find a venue to host the
322.
Okay.
We need to figure out when Easter is. We need to find a venue.
Thanks, Bobby. Jimbo, thanks for joining the party tonight. Dallas still sucks.
Yeah. Well, it's good to deflect from the go Knowles. Jesus. Well, you're not getting James Franklin as a coach.
No, they're going to get Dion.
They're not getting Dion. He's like DiCaprio in Wolf of Wall Street. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not leaving. Vegas.
Mike Norvell staying.
That's great.
All right.
Nice to be
Hey,
fifth.
before you know it, we
Nice to
cruised
be
through,
fifth in the ACC.
we cruised through December, and we turned the corner, and all of a sudden it's going to be draft season.
Yeah, and then hopefully we get through. I mean, the December 2nd is the last day for Miracama posting day, and I mean, we'll keep up with that as we go along here. And as free agents sign, we'll talk about that, what they mean from a fantasy impact, as always. And we wish you a happy Thanksgiving. Hopefully,
Absolutely.
Charlie Brown's head explodes in a Macy's Day Parade, or a kid gets dragged down the street by high winds. That's always fun. And I won't be watching it, so
it's a staple in the house.
it is. Enjoy your turkey or your tofurkey,
No,
or whatever you indulge in. And if
you get the real thing.
And if you're fortunate enough to spend your Thanksgiving with family, then hug them.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. All right. Be good, folks.
If you can't be good at it. Peace.
Yeah, keep talking till I cue up the music. There we go. All right. Mrs. Pugsley was texting me an update. So there's our music. All right.
There's our music.
Gobble, gobble.
Gobble, gobble.